the whole question of the judiciary and how we deal with things. There's been a couple of incidents that I'd like these guys' views on. But first up, on Monday Night Footy, Gordon Tallis had an interesting take on an incident that happened in the match between Manly and Cronulla. Here's what he had to say.
Mate, the T-Rex, Tony Williams. Let's look at this in the first half. This is just an old-fashioned suplex. Greg the Hammer Valentine style on Isaac de Gois. Boys, that's a nasty one.
Well, look, is he a victim because he's so strong? I don't know whether he wanted a tackle to go out, but he's just so strong. He flipped him so fast and so fierce that he ended in a really dangerous position. So he will have a case to answer there. But my point is, where does Cronulla get the advantage? Okay, so if he's going to get weeks, okay, the next sides that play Manly over the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to get the advantage. Should he
so you're saying he should have got 10 in the bin? You're
saying, well, maybe 5 or 10 in the bin. Well, there's no 5, so I mean, because Cronulla need to get something for that tackle.
I had never heard it put that way. He's got a point, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, but you could say that about a number of things that happen in a game where a guy gets an injury late in the game. You know, the team that he's playing, they didn't get any advantage out of it. There is a slight argument, but I don't really agree with it. There's not a great deal.
Bad tackle, though.
Oh,
shocking.
Yeah, and he probably deserves to get the 7 weeks that he's pleaded guilty for on that one there. But I know for sure that he wouldn't have practiced that, so there was no intent to do that type of a tackle.
I think I'd come at the Tallis point another way. I can't see how he stayed on the field. If that's as bad as you get, when do you get ordered off in the game of rugby league then? You know, I mean, it's serious. It was a serious tackle, and you know, I would have thought being ordered off would have been the advantage that with coming out another way Cronulla would have got. But you know, that would have been the way to handle it.
With that one, I'd say that if de Gois stays down, Tony Williams gets sent off. The hard thing is to know, the referee to know whether it's going to be 7 weeks or not there on the spot. Because he should have been sent off if it's a 7-week punishment. But in the game, you see it and you go, oh, you know, I'll let the judiciary deal with it. He gets 7 weeks, so that's pretty bad, 7 weeks. Luckily enough, thank goodness that that de Gois didn't get injured, because it could have quite terribly gone wrong even more than just the tackle looking bad. We don't want that in our game. You don't want that in any game, because your spinal cord, your neck, anything could be completely severed in that situation.
But your point about staying down, we're going to have them taking dives then, just like it'll be like football.
Yeah. I don't mean about guys staying down for dives. I mean, if he was hurt, I guarantee you Tony Williams would have been sent off.
Yeah, but it does give a licence to other players to know that if they stay down on the ground, that the third referee is going to have a look at it while they show some replays, talk to the referee, and then he'll make a decision then, penalty, on report or send off. And
in my view, that was so bad that the third referee would have been able to see it straight away and could have said that is a sending off offence, full stop. Why did, you know? I mean, I don't...
Because their rules say that they can't. It's not until
that's wrong.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
Crazy.
Definitely. That's something they've got to fix up. Look, every incident is different, but here's a bloke who's probably been hard done by. I don't know if you've seen the Ione tackle, but have a look at this. Now, there's the tackle. Pricey, he got 5 weeks for this. I'm going to suggest that he wouldn't even be noticed in the average league match.
Mate, if he was a winger in rugby league making tackles like that, he'd be one of the highest paid players in the comp.
Why he got 5 weeks for that is just an absolute joke.
He drove him onto the ground on his back.
Yes.
There was nothing dangerous about the tackle.
And he had control of it.
And he had control.
He had his leg up and he drove him into the ground, as opposed to someone tipping a guy where both legs flick into the air.
He might have put him in a dangerous position initially, but he never created any danger from that point on.
That's where we ask for some common sense in these situations.
Who are on the judiciary? Are they former players or are they...
And that is a South African making that call on an Australian, which is an interesting viewpoint, because we're going to see a bit of this happening in rugby union at the present time. So, I take on board what you're saying.
Because they're the ones who make those decisions. Yeah. They're given the rules, but then they actually say, this is what it is.
We've got a bit of difference on another incident that I'd like your view on. It's the Ranger incident, which we've all seen, and it affects a very good New Zealand player. Hugh, you've got a fair bit of sympathy for him here.
Well, I think if Rene, if he had got in contact with him and drove him out over the sideline, sure, there might have been a bit of distance, but if he had taken him out over the sideline, no one would have even seen that he got injured. He didn't get up holding his ribs or whatever to any great extent, because everyone would have said, what a great tackle, he took him out. The referees would be looking at, did he go out before the line, did he go out after the line? that would never have ever come about. I thought it was unfortunate that he was actually, we see it week in, week out.
In this case, I don't think that's the issue. The issue is in rugby, you're not allowed to tackle without arms. You tackle without his arms. In league, you can. So there's the big difference. And unfortunately, the way rugby's interpreted, that tackle is an illegal tackle, and that's the way they rule.
So his only error is that he, instead of trying to punch the ball out, he just went to try and basically shut him over the sideline. And
there's a similar one in league there, you see.
Well, that's slightly different. He's gone with his knee. That is a little bit different.
He got nothing though.
no, he didn't.
Again,
Yeah,
inconsistencies that we're talking about.
So is rugby getting a bit too precious?
Well, there are some times where I think they do. There's a couple of incidents in rugby. Obviously, they've indicated anything above the shoulder is an illegal tackle. But if you come over and tackle someone and throw the seatbelt over them, or your arm comes over the top to try and kill the ball, automatically you're penalised for a head-high tackle because it's above the height of the shoulders. They go a bit too far. And again, that's why I say maybe some common sense needs to come in sometimes. And I question how many years ago administrators set the rules and then the referees enforce them. Now the referees are making the rules. Where did they get the jurisdiction to do it? Did those in officialdom, did they hand it over to the referees?
Well, I think, they don't make the rules, but in rugby sense, I think it's about, we should come back to common sense, and it should be about intent. You know, if you just go like this, and it's not going to do any damage. But if you hit someone, across the forearm, whatever, then that's the case. I mean, you can measure intent. You can see intent, whether
And I appreciate the three of you coming in. Thanks for that input and for your expertise.
Thanks, mate.
Can a player be loyal to a club that he knows he's not going to play for next year? Up until recently, I'd have said, no way. But James Maloney has changed all that for me. He's been the Warriors' best player this year, despite the fact that he'll be with the Roosters next year. Even when he picked up a really bad injury with 10 minutes to go on Sunday, James Maloney hung in there. Obviously, Maloney is doing everything he can to help the Warriors' cause. He's a little fighter and he's giving it his very best. They couldn't even get him off the track here. He runs it out and keeps on going. So if you had asked me a few years ago what happens if a player is signed, I'd say, well, he won't be interested in the club that he's playing for. But there is a new era of professionalism, and Maloney, well, he actually personifies that.